welcome to the Q&R code, or should I say the R code. Today, it is a solo episode, just me, Riley. As you all know, my twin is always preferred to be in my presence, whether it is recording virtually a podcast or going about my daily life. I love to have my twin alongside me, but it's also fun to do a little solo hang with you guys. And I know my twin will be tuning in to listen. Hello, Quinn. You were missed today. Thanks for joining me for another episode of our podcast. I do have a martini glass sitting next to me. Are we day drinking? Not alcohol, no. It's limonada, and I just felt like having a little elevated moment. It's fun to drink out of different glassware. It doesn't have to be for a martini just because it's a martini glass. You can get creative and have a little fun with yourself. And I thought, we're going to be sitting here, have a little chat sesh. I might as well pick out a fun glass for the moment. So, cheers. Hope you're sipping on something delicious as well. It's so good, you guys. If you haven't had limonada before, it's like a Brazilian citrus drink. Limes, water, ice, and sweetened condensed milk. The sweetened condensed milk gives it that creaminess, the sweetness, really yummy. The limes, you don't juice them, you actually just chop them and put them all into a blender together. So you get some good bitterness from the peel in it as well to kind of balance out the sweetness. Super tasty, highly recommend. Today I was pondering, what should I talk about? It's a solo episode. Is there anything I need to touch on? And as a podcaster is wont to do, I have a note in my notes app for writing down inspiration as the moment strikes. I'll just have a random idea and think that would be something that I'd like to talk to my twin about. But also some of these things that I have written in there, okay, I don't know why that struck you as something that would be interesting fodder for your podcast. Case in point, one of my bullet points was, do triangles ever get tired of being the most stable shape? I don't know where the conversation could go from there, but sound off. Do you think that triangles ever get tired of being the most stable shape? Is there any gossip among the other shapes about that? Or is there, a trapezoid that feels a little skeptical about that? I don't know. So all that is to say, I'm not going down that road. I wanted to talk about happiness. Who doesn't? But the world has, of course, lots of heavy events going on. And I was having a conversation at my work the other day with somebody that was basically saying they feel like they have no right to happiness when there's such tragedy going on. I understand the sentiment, but in many ways I feel even more inclined to embrace joy because of the fact that it's no guarantee, and when other people are facing such suffering, to live in a place where we are lucky and privileged enough right now to feel relatively safe and to have access to clean drinking water, safe food, plenty of food, all of these different layers that are massive, massive blessings that can sometimes be taken for granted. It's, to me, essential to be in your gratitude with that and have that joy. And another reason that put this on my mind was in our letter loop that is really fun. Quinn and I have talked about it a little before with any long distance friends, or even not long distance, if you just want to keep up with each other more often. There's this email subscription that you can submit questions to each other in your friend group, and you set how often you'll receive it. And then you all answer the questions. We have our frequency set to every 2 weeks. Then get a little newsletter emailed out to all of us with our answers. So it's a way to stay in touch, and you can include photos and songs that have been stuck in your head. I think it's really fun, and I love doing this with Quinn and one of my other bestie buddies back home. Somebody asked the question, what do you think all happy people have in common? My first thought was delusion, but that's just the naughty little jokester in me. The other thought I had was gratitude. You guys know very well that a gratitude practice is very important to Quinn and I. It's something that we dig into every single day. It's something that feels very grounding and almost spiritual to me, in the sense of having that ritualistic practice of speaking gratitude, not only saving it for special occasions to communicate, but when you feel grateful for someone, voicing that to them, voicing it to the world and the universe. And there are entire sociological studies, PhDs working on the question of happiness. This is not something that is an easy to pin down thing. I would love to read the book, The Happiness Project. I know there's other books on this theme I haven't read. So this is just from me thinking, considering, what is it that really makes me feel happy? And like I said, I think that gratitude is part of it, but I don't think gratitude is quite the same as happiness. So I pondered more, and I do feel like a lot of happiness for me really comes from connection. I think it's really hard to feel happy in a lonely little bubble. I think that you might feel content, but there's the difference there. Happiness to me has a bit of an exuberance and enthusiasm. It's not just peaceful contentedness, which is a beautiful thing in itself. But when you feel happy, it's like that extra little zhuzh, that burst of something, and little moments make me so happy, where you see the color of a sunrise or the sky or a bird landing on the feeder. And I think that to me is connection. You see the bird and I feel connected to it there. That right in front of me. We're living in the same moment. We're occupying the same space. We have a connection. That is just something that I feel like you can cultivate in so many different ways. It doesn't just look like one thing. Even when I love baking bread and thinking about that, it's very tactile. I'm combining the ingredients with my own hands. I'm kneading, shaping, watching it grow, and it's really spending intentional time there. It's a little bit funny in some ways to consider it a relationship, but you are having a relationship with it for that moment in time. And when you focus on that connection, can really break down more and more all of the little things that have had to come together for that moment. The flour had to be milled from grain, which had to be grown with the rain, with the water from the farmers. And thinking about the chain of connection that we all have, not only all as humans, but as an entire ecosystem, the earth. You can expand out to space, which That gets a little trippier for me. I don't know if my little human noggin was made to think about things on that scale. I have to break it down a little smaller and then expand as I'm able. It's about being present, having that intentional connection. When things are going really awry in numerous ways, politically, there's the whole can of worms of the internet and AI and all of those anxieties. The way that I have felt like I can cope with it is reaching out for connection. And I'm feeling so excited and ready to rise to that occasion. People come into my work, and even if we're having this connection for 5 minutes and you'll go on with the rest of your life, I'll go on with mine, we may never connect again. It's worth it for the 5 minutes of connection. It makes you feel so good. It makes the other person, you can see that it's meaningful to them. It feels like a breath of fresh air in a time where we can all go into the grocery store, have headphones in your ears, do your shopping without ever talking or lifting your eyes to another person, and go through the self-checkout and have done your entire errands without an interaction with another person. I think that we have to prioritize that. And speaking of self-checkouts, of course, there's a time and a place, and they can be very convenient. But I have been starting to intentionally go always to a clerk if they're available, because why are we allowing corporations to outsource all of their what would have formerly been an employee, to robots, and we're just complicit in the system? I am really trying to push back on that and make it known. No, I value the human connection. I value having someone around. Sometimes I'm in the store. Where is anyone that I can ask a question to? There's no humans in here. I don't want to live in Wall-E world. I want to live in this world. And I went to a really fun little pop-up the other day. It was a vintage pop-up where she was selling thrifted clothes. And in fact, I didn't even realize this. I'm wearing my tank top today. I thought this was a very fun little stripey beach girl moment. The sunshine finally, saying finally, popped out in Virginia when we had literally like such a small chunk of the winter with a cold snap. When I'm from Wyoming, feels crazy, but you get used to it when you live in a new place. And the sunshine is out, so I was really in the mood. And the owner of the pop-up shop struck up a conversation with me, and instead of just keeping it very surface level, oh yeah, good, how are you, we actually had a full-blown conversation. We ended up talking for an hour. We were really quick to let down our guards and just talk about our families and our relationships and places that we've been, things that are important to us. Within an hour, I felt like, oh my gosh, this is someone that is an unexpected friend. They don't even live in this town. I can have a friendship with them, even if it doesn't mean that it's going to be someone that I'm able to see every week, bump into town, but I still felt like, wow, there's an actual connection and a relationship there. And if I hadn't been in the mindset where I was ready to receive that and provide that for her as well, I would have really missed out on that opportunity that made me come home and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm walking on air. I said to Brayden, wow, I made a new friend and it was so much fun. It was someone that I could totally see connecting with down the line, and that even though they live out of town, that I would fully make a trip out to spend a weekend with them, despite this short amount of time that we've spent together. And how exciting is that to know that the world is full of those people out there for you, that you could miss if you don't choose to participate in the world. Just think about that. How much is out there for you to find joy, to find connection, but you have to allow yourself to be open to it as a possibility. And truly, it's not that effortful. I was just being myself, and it felt like she was too. And in a similar tone, somebody came into my work a few months ago, and we just had a short conversation about product that then we started talking about art that we were both getting into, as you guys know, with my watercolor journey and whatnot. Been trying to center more art making, and she ended up saying, I would love to get coffee with you at some point. Can we exchange contacts? I said, of course, that sounds great. I would love to do that. We exchanged contacts. Life happens, time goes on. We hadn't met up. Then this morning, well, we connected last week and said, okay, now it works in both of our schedules. Let's make it happen. This morning, I went and had coffee with her, and we hit it off so well. It was someone that I'd spent maybe 10 minutes total with before. We were there for 2 hours. We could have kept talking a lot longer if we didn't have to go and have other things to do. And we covered such a gambit of conversation. We found out that we were very compatible people in so many ways. And that could have been something that I totally missed out on if she wasn't someone that was willing and brave enough to put herself out there and then to ask if that's something I would be interested in. And if I had my walls up and said no, then I would have really missed out on that. And we had such an incredible conversation. It was very deep quickly, but not in a trauma dump sort of way, in a way that we were both able to fully hold space for, and also with levity and joy. And I learned from her already. Like, I felt like she was so thoughtful and really made me consider what can come from a stranger allowing themselves to become familiar to you. And that just really inspires me to reach out more often. I personally am someone that feels like I have not as much experience making new friendships, even though when I say that, I have so many people in my life that are newer friendships. So maybe I'm choosing to label myself in a way that doesn't actually reflect the truth or fully serve me, but something about growing up in the same place. I had gone to school with most of the same people since kindergarten through high school. So occasionally in that period of time, there would be new friendships, but I was often just not in a position where I was reaching out for new friendships, even though being in school, like I said, with these same students, I could have been like, this is my normal friend group, but I'm going to reach out for connection here. And I would have made a completely new friend that would have given me a totally new perspective. That just wasn't something that I feel like I was as prone to do. I would be friendly with people. I feel like I had a good relationship with my peers. I really respect the people that I went to school with and think that there are some such incredible people that I would love to get to know more, but just never did at that point. And I feel so ready for that and excited about it because I think I'm just feeling rewarded for it. It doesn't even mean that this is going to transform into a best friendship, but seeing more people as a person, giving the opportunity for them to share something of themselves is really cool. And more of that, I truly believe, is world changing. I'm not sitting here saying because I had coffee with someone that I didn't know, I'm changing the world. That being said, it kind of is. I think that those conversations really do matter. My week feels completely different because it started on that foot. I feel so excited and glad that we made that happen, and gives me more trust for strangers moving forward. I think that's a big thing, that with the level of tension that is going on in our country from difference and different perspectives, makes you look at people in the way that starts with distrust. And I understand safety being a concern and needing to prioritize that 100%. But when you are yourself and you just show up as a vulnerable, open person, I think that holds a lot of power. It is not weak to be vulnerable. It's extremely powerful. It's transformative. That does open you up to being potentially hurt, but it also opens you up for the potential for something really cool and special. And choosing to be guarded, I don't think actually does protect you from being hurt, but it does prevent you from connection. And that in turn might prevent you from happiness and joy. And that to me is too high a cost. When you think about, at the end of the day, what's important to me in life, I think a lot of us can agree, like happiness and health. And both of those things are not fully in your control, but there are lots of things that you can do to influence that. And when it comes to your health, you can't take it for granted. There's so many unexpected things that you can encounter, but we also know there are things that we can do to preserve our health or to encourage it, to move our bodies, to eat delicious produce. All of those things we know set you up for more success in that department. And I think setting yourself up for success in terms of happiness looks a lot of ways too. And when you do that, I just feel like I'm living a more aligned life. Going on the point of connection, not necessarily human connection, also feels extremely important to me with my overall approach to life. The sun came out. My husband and I planted our start of our spring garden, and we both love to garden barefoot. Feel the ground, the mud beneath your toes. Yes, it's a hippie girl living to care about grounding, but it actually transforms my mood and makes me feel like a person again. And getting your hands in the dirt, that tactile experience, it's like play. It's just like how as kids we had all the opportunities to be in the dirt and play, and then we kind of take those from ourselves, but you don't have to. There's no rule that says that you can't. In fact, we can and we should. And we put in our little lettuces and our peas, beets, carrots, some flowers as well. And watching a garden grow is some of the most connected and happy that I truly feel. It is just the full miracle of life. Plants are incredible. They come from these tiny little seeds, sometimes big seeds. We put some of those in the ground too. And to watch over a matter of days, just they soak up their own nutrients from the soil, the sun, the water, little shoots starting to form. They grow and change so quickly before your eyes, and then you get to take that nutrient, thank that plant, and enjoy it for yourself. Oh my gosh. Talk about full circle connection. Having a plate full of food that you started with dirt and seeds in the ground. I think we all could benefit from that so much. I know not everyone feels like a gardening girly, but I really, really just believe and think that everyone should at least do a pot, even if you have a little potted plant or a little potted herb garden. I can't imagine life without it now. I think about when Brayden and I talk about our future and our future home, I am always thinking about the greenhouse, the garden setup. That feels so important to me and just like the perfect puzzle piece fit. It's like that deep human instinct to just be connected to land and not allow all of the, what would you call it? All of the influences of modern life to cloud that perspective. I'm feeling excited. I feel excited for the week ahead, and I know that regardless of what happens in my own personal life or on a broader cultural global level, there are things that I can turn to find joy, to find peace. This is just my message to you for this week, that I know how heavy life can feel. Believe me, this is me coming from a place where we have some serious, emotional, really unpredictable things going on a more personal level in our lives, as well as the constant anxiety that Quinn and I have shared with you all on a more macro level. But that to me is not a reason to abandon all hope. In fact, I think that's the only way forward, and I've felt more reinforced in that belief recently, and I don't think it's selfish to try to focus on inner peace. I think that that is actually a way that we're able to continue to sustain motivation for helping our communities. I think it's very hard to give from a place of deficit, and if you inside feel worthless, less than, unhappy, dissatisfied, that's a really hard place to give from, to work from, to be creative. I think that when it comes to solving these issues, we have to have an extremely strong imagination and ability to think and think creatively. And I think that the best thing that we can do to be able to be in that place is to pour into those happiness, creative connection wells. So, with that, I hope that you can find something this week that makes you feel connected, that makes you feel joyful. I highly recommend having a little homemade beverage that can just be a source of joy in your day. Today it's limonada. Yesterday I made an iced matcha latte with homemade strawberry simple syrup. You guys, making your own syrups at home is so easy. You've heard my pumpkin pie spice recipe. That one's super easy. The strawberry syrup I made just took frozen strawberries, which we had picked last year, so they are extra delicious because they were locally grown, sun-ripened strawberries, but grocery store ones will do as well. Let those boil in a pot of water, add some more sugar to taste, smash, cook it down, strain it. Delicious in a matcha. I've been told it was yummy in a coffee. I haven't tried the strawberry syrup with the coffee yet. It feels more tea-esque to me. But that is a way that I can wind down and feel either excited at the top of my day or like I have something to look forward to when I get home. Soak up that spring sun rays if you have them where you are. I hope you do. I know that even for us girls that love winter, it can feel a little bit like a heavy cloak sometimes. So to shed that and to take a cue from Mother Nature and begin to open your little bud and bloom again is an extremely satisfying feeling. I'm wishing the best for all of you. Quinn, the podcast is not the same without you, but thank you for letting me have a little chat today. And we will talk to you next time, my twin alongside me. Wishing you all the very best and have a beautiful day. Bye.